I think that my biggest mistake, well, I guess not, I wouldn't call it a mistake now. I would just maybe call it an adjustment to the way I operate and interact with the rest of the world. I used to, and I guess used to is not even the correct terminology because I still do this. I believe and act as though people are better than what they actually are, that they're better than what they're showing me. And while that may be true, it doesn't change, right? The way they treat me, the way they connect with me, the way they talk to me doesn't change. Every single time it's the same thing. And yet I continue to hope, to hope and wish that people will show up better than they did before. And hope is a really funny thing. Hope will lift you up to the highest mountains, and hope will drag you down and drown you in the valley just below those mountains. You know, they say curiosity killed the cat. Hope strangled the cat, okay? Because when you live in reality, like when you strip away all the optimism and the whatever opposite is of optimism, you are sitting in reality. And you are living in reality on reality's terms. And when you do that, you can see and you can recognize hope. Hope can destroy. Hope is exhausting. And this is strictly pertaining to relationships, friendships, relationships, associates, the full spectrum of what relationships could be and what they are. Hope will destroy you. And, specifically speaking to wishing and hoping that people will show up better than they actually are, that will destroy you. It's exhausting. It's exhausting and it's heartbreaking. And it hurts. Because you're setting yourself up for disappointment each and every time you think, oh no, they're better than this. I know that they're better than this. Well, I hope they'll show up better next time. I know that they can do better next time. They'll surprise me. No, they're going to do better. They're going to change. They're going to change for me. Look yourself in the mirror. And ask yourself, are they really willing to change based on everything you've been through with this person, with these people, with these groups of people, with anything? Are they willing to change for you? Have they made any effort to reach your standard, right? Because every time you give them grace, and I'm not talking about the second or third time. I'm talking about the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, all the way up to however many chances you've given this situation. However many times you have given grace to this situation, you are eating away at the standards that you've built. You are undoing the work you have completed and successfully, successfully overcome obstacles, and you've done your shadow work, and you've, crafted these standards to ensure that your interactions, your operations, your life operates at a higher level, and those around you meet that standard to continue to bring you that elevation in your life, right? And when you continuously give someone who doesn't even meet the basic standard of your standards, they don't even meet the basic level of your standards, you are eating away at yourself. You're sacrificing all the work that you've put into yourself to exceed your standard. For what? You're sacrificing all of that for what? And it's insanity because, one, what's the definition of insanity? You keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and hoping for a different outcome. And what I find interesting is most women of this generation, what I notice is that they operate at a higher level than what their acceptable standards are. And most of these standards are high standards, right? But they operate higher than that, and yet they lower their standards. And I wonder why that is, but maybe that's a conversation for a different time. But you are sacrificing the work that you've done for yourself for someone who's not even willing to make the tiniest bit of effort to reach your basic level of acceptability in your standards. You are breaking your own heart because let's look towards the future. What's going to happen? You're going to get your heart broken. Because however many times you've given this grace is closer and closer to a heartbreak. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, and you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. And my love, you must let it go. You must let the situation go. You needn't, is that a word? Well, we'll figure that out later. You need not repeat yourself more than twice. 3 times is pushing it. Let me say that again. You need not repeat yourself more than twice. 3 is pushing it. Someone who appreciates you for who you are, someone who is willing to build with you, someone who sees a future with you, someone who cares about you as not just as whatever you want the relationship to be, whatever that spectrum of that relationship is. They care about you as a human being. They will make that effort. They'll do what it takes. And here you are sacrificing yourself, maneuvering your day, maneuvering your time, maneuvering your energy to accommodate them. I'll never understand that. And I'm also speaking from experience, and I'm also talking to myself of I've never understood, because hindsight is 2020, right? Hindsight is 2020. And looking back, it's always, you knew from the very beginning. You knew. And yet you took the chance. And look what happened. Trust your gut. Say it again. Trust your gut. Say it with me. I trust my gut. Once more. I trust my gut. enunciate one more time. I trust my gut. It's exhausting. We're all exhausted. The dating scene is disgusting. But there is someone out there who will elevate you to see over the tippy tops of those mountains and not drag you down to the valleys below. And I always find it interesting, looking back. This is also something that I've had to, I've let go of, because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of breath, a waste of space, is returning that same energy. And what returning that same energy means is if someone is giving you below standard behavior, you stoop down to their level, again, sacrificing all the work that you've done within yourself to elevate yourself to a higher level of experience and thinking and insight and all of the above. You've undone all that work to sink to their level and return their same energy. If they're giving you below standard behavior and you're returning it back to them, how do you feel afterwards? How does that feel? How do you feel during and how do you feel after? Well, I'll tell you how I feel during. I feel exhausted. I feel annoyed. I feel exasperated. I'm irritated. Because who wants to communicate? Who wants to interact with someone? Who wants to be in the same space as someone? Who wants to exchange energy with someone who won't even give you the bare minimum? And the bare minimum is being a caring, compassionate, loving human being. And they're not even willing to be that. Whatever your bare minimum standard is, they don't even meet that. That's where you start returning energy, which is draining, because that's not even you. That's not how you operate. It's draining to go back to a place where you have grown from. Stop it. Stop doing that. You've grown out of that place for a reason. And if someone isn't mature enough or at a place in their life that is similar to yours and your growth journey and the way you think and the way you operate, if they can't sort of meet you where you are, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes they might not be as mature or they might be a little behind in their growth journey than you are. But if it's clear that they're trying, that's a lot more attractive than someone who is way, way, way below the line. Why do you keep giving your time and energy to someone who, let's call it what it is, doesn't think you're worth it? They could be telling you, and when you bring it up, they could be telling you all these pretty nice things and all these sweet nothings wrapped up in little bows. They don't mean jack shit without action. And an apology without action is nothing. You can say you're sorry all you want. But if something doesn't change, if something happens again in the future and nothing is adjusted, nothing has changed, nothing is improved, nothing has evolved from that last, apology, then none of it was real. The apology wasn't real. Mistakes happen, yes, but I expect a little bit more. And I'm at a point in my life where expectations are agreements, apologies are agreements that it won't happen again. You break that agreement, then what's the point? You just lied to me. And I can give grace only so many times. So again, you're returning this energy and it's draining you. You're exhausted during, you're irritated and you're annoyed. You're yelling at the wall and you're texting your friend like, this motherfucker just like, who does he think he, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Like, what's the point, my love? What is the point? What is the point? There's no point. Let it go. Let it go. Take a deep breath with me. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let it go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Okay? You know you deserve better. Every time you have to return energy, you know you deserve better. You shouldn't have to be asking for things 2 or 3 times. You shouldn't have to be asking for things twice. Doesn't make sense. And my mother, love her so dearly. Sometimes when I vent to her, I've learned I have to say, Mom, I just need you to listen right now. I don't need any advice. But sometimes I forget to say that, and she listens, obviously, every time. But she also goes into advice, and I'm like, Mom, I don't need you to fix me right now. I just wanna be sad. Just let me be sad. We can fix this later. But she asks me, what would you do if one of your friends came up to you and explained the situation? What advice would you give them? And half the time it's like, 99% clear. Let it go. Every time. That's usually the answer every time. Let it go. Leave. End it. Be done. Wipe your hands of it. It's over. But it's easier said than done, right? So much easier said than done. Because we have these emotional connections with people, whether they're positive or negative, whether they are, symbiotic, parasitic, whatever. We have these emotional, mental, and physical, maybe spiritual, and half the time sexual connections with each other, with these people. Not me and you, but whoever you have your connections with, right? It's easier said than done to walk away from these connections. Because half the time they're codependent. And I don't know the term. Maybe they're not even codependent. Maybe you are dependent upon them because they represent something else in your life. They represent something else in your life that you need to figure out. Maybe you should go to therapy for. You need to figure out why this connection is so hard to let go of. Is it linked to something else? To an emotional trauma, to a trauma in general? Figure out what that is. Do some shadow work, go to therapy, deal with it so that you can finally let go of this. Because you're perpetuating a cycle of pain. You're hurting yourself. You are consciously hurting yourself. And my love, you don't deserve that. You deserve the world on a silver platter, a gold platter, all of the platters, a big one, all meshed together. And not even the planet, not the world, the galaxy, the universe. Whatever's bigger than that, you deserve it. And if someone doesn't even meet the bare minimum, doesn't even meet the middle point, the midpoint between bare minimum and the bottom tier of your standards, like, what are you doing? What are you doing even messing with anybody or interacting with anybody or having a connection with anybody who doesn't even meet the bottom tier of your standards? Maybe some more work needs to be done. But stop undoing the work you've already done for someone who couldn't give less of a shit. Okay? You should only love yourself, baby girl. On the dead homies. And I mean that. It's true, though. Love yourself. Love yourself enough to walk away. Love yourself enough to know better. Love yourself enough to say, okay, I give myself grace for making this mistake. Not even a mistake, it's a learning experience. Learn what not to do. Take note of what to do better next time. How to recognize a situation like you did in the first place and actually walk away this time instead of sticking around to see what happens. Turn that energy of grace outward. Turn the energy of grace that you give outwards, turn that inwards. Not everybody deserves your time. Not everybody deserves your grace. And not everybody deserves your love. Sometimes people just aren't better than what they're showing you. That's just what they are. That's just what they are. And you can't continue to hope and wish and pray that they do better. Because you can't make them do anything. You can't change them. So you're praying and you're hoping and you're wishing aren't doing anything. And maybe if we turn that energy inwards and we start telling ourselves that we are greater than what we are right in this moment, then our thoughts begin to align with that. Our actions, our habits, the way we interact with the world, life begins to align with this quote unquote better version of ourselves. I'm not saying life will get easier. Maybe it will, but things will be a lot more clear. You deserve that clarity in your life. So turn that energy inwards. Turn that energy of love and grace inwards. Love yourself. Love yourself.